Welcome back. In this video we finally get some top coat onto Stowaway's hull. If you've been following the channel over the last couple of videos, just been a real push to get the hull prepared for this step. Probably best part of 150 hours now, and yeah, all leading up to this point. The weather's been absolutely spot on all the way up to November, just working outside, which is not too bad. Really excited to finally get to this step. Very crucial because yeah, if it all goes wrong, I'm back to the start stripping the paint off, but hopefully it won't happen.
The top coat polyurethane I'm using, the Jotun stuff, you can actually apply it in 0 degrees centigrade, which is absolutely mad. So it can be on the borderline of freezing, and you can apply this stuff and it can set within 4 hours, or touch dry within 4 hours. As long as the dew point is 3 degrees separate from the ambient, we're okay, and the humidity is lower than 85%. It should be absolutely fine. So here we go. I'll just give you a quick show through. Windy, and I've just been looking at this. We're on Friday, the 1st of November. 77% currently for the humidity, and then into Saturday. Saturday morning's a little bit humid. We've got a little bit of rain coming through, sort of 9 o'clock. That's what's forecast, and then it's into the green zone with the moisture below 85%, and then across Sunday is also looking really good. So that's awesome. Unbelievable temperatures still at the minute. I was sort of walking back from the pub in t-shirt last night, and I was still quite warm. There we go, 14 degrees during the day. On Saturday, dew point is 9 degrees, so still plenty of clearance there. 3 degrees difference it needs to be. My window for getting this stuff on is narrowing quite quickly, and I think this weekend is going to be the weekend for getting this stuff on. So I'll get down there tomorrow morning as soon as that rain cloud has moved through, if it even does, and dry off the surface, get this stuff on, and allow it enough time to cure at least. And then Sunday I'll come back in the morning and put the second coat on. Fingers crossed, I'll get down there tomorrow morning, mix up, and start getting it on. Well, the weather is not quite as good as I thought it was going to be. There's just a lot of clouds and like a lot of moisture in the air, so I'm not sure today is going to happen, to be honest. So rain has stopped and temperature has just suddenly shot up. So all it's got to do is stay reasonably dry for the next sort of couple of hours, and then I'm going to go into it. I just need these surfaces to dry up as much as possible, to be honest, before I can even start masking off. If I put the masking tape along the sides and it starts raining again, it's going to be a bit of a mess and a waste of time, so I'll just hold back on that for a second. Got in here some super fine foam rollers from SML for the top coat. I've been sort of recommended these from somebody else who commented on the channel, and the write-up on the website was actually quite good. So I've got a few of those, and we'll see how they work out. I think I'm just gonna have to sort this boot of this car out. It's turning into a everything shop. Alright, that's a little bit more tidy, even though it doesn't look it. I've got some rubbish to get rid of. And it's raining again. It's a pain, this. What are we at now? 10 o'clock. Oh no.
So masking off does my nut in, to be honest. I knew where the waterline was, but my initial go at this, I was masking off like I was about to anti-foul the hull, so I had a massive clearance on top. Now normally most people would get this after just doing one side, but I did both sides and then realised what I'd done, so that was a bit of a waste of time. I had to pay extra for the speed setting on this drill. It's not a standard option.
Okay. So that's the first batch with a thinner in it. Let's see how we get on with this. It's really dodgy. I'm not sure whether it's going to rain or not. Looks a bit close.
So, unlike the epoxy paint, this polyurethane stuff was like a different creature altogether. It's very, as I say, easy to work with the thinner at 30%. The main thing is that if there are any sags from application, is that you get that leveled out, even out as quickly as possible. You can see there that I'm going easy on the brush in the area, and then I'm kind of like smoothing off as soon as it's on. Now I'm just working in like meter length sections at a time, and the reason for that is because if I go any further, the paint is drying before you come back to it. If you need to, it's too late. So just the meter sections, you can work it, get it smoothed off, and just and then you can move on to the next section. It is a very once you've started, you just carry on with it sort of job. I think if you were to just do up to halfway and then leave it and then come back like the next day, you'd like to have this permanent line in the middle of your boat, where you're sort of like finished and then starting off the next day. So if you're going to do this and then finish, just do one side of the hull and then come back to do the other side the next day. So I was rolling the lower section on, as you can see, and then brushing on the section of the like sort of like rubbing straight, the sort of line there, not sure what you call that bit, and then brushing just the top on, and it worked quite well. Doing this kind of on your own is a little bit of a challenge, because when you run out of paint in your pot, then you're like back and mixing up, and it's kind of, you need to get on with it, so that you don't have a lot of drying on the previous section. So I'd never done this job before in my life, never painted a boat, and when I started, I was really slow, and I was kind of like a few bits which I kind of mucked up on. So I started on the very transom right underneath, near where the water line is. So if you ever see the boat float, don't look right underneath the water in the transom, because some of it looks a bit like dodgy. But yeah, after a while, you sort of get into the rhythm of it. You get to know the paint a little bit more, a bit more confident with it, and that's what I found anyway. Before I knew it, I was just kind of steaming along and kind of forgetting about it. The bit that I had to focus on was the top section there near the gunnel.
Been really lucky with the weather. I thought it was going to start raining. About halfway in, I felt a couple of specks on the back of my neck, and I thought, oh no, this is really not good. But I'm not sure whether it was like actual rain, or like bird decided to empty itself on me or whatever. I'm not sure. But yeah, I didn't see anything after that at all, and it's actually quite like dry now. It feels really dry. The atmosphere feels really dry in comparison with this morning. So that paint is sort of more kind of designed for spraying, where they thin it down to like 40%, and literally as soon as it flies onto the surface, it's drying. But with that foam roller, it seems to hold a lot of paint, so it actually doesn't sort of like feel like it's going off, but you can definitely, after a couple of rolls on the surface that you're working on, if you give it sort of like half a square meter at a time and just work the area, you can actually kind of like level it out with that foam roller really well. Thinned it down quite a lot on this first coat, and it seems to be the right way of going at it. If you're brushing it on, it's there's a lot more paint going on. I can't really get away with like painting the whole row like I did with the epoxy, because any runs, like sort of like they're almost dry like as soon as you get sort of kind of a couple of meters down the boat. So if you're doing the top with a paint brush, it's not a good idea, because where the lip is on the sort of gunnel line, that if there's any runs off there, when you come to do the roller underneath the main part of the hull, that'll actually be almost dry already, and it'll be quite hard to you know, roll out any drips from that part of the of that part of the hull. So yeah, I'm just doing bits at a time, painting, and then going over to the roller and then putting the roller on. It's like a little bit tricky because I'm kind of like juggling with roller and paintbrush. It's meant to be dry overnight, so yeah, fingers crossed we'll get some more product on tomorrow. Right, back down the boatyard. Arrived a bit late today. Gonna get on with this side. So just to mix that up, I'm definitely happy with 30% thinned with this Hardtop AX. It seems to have worked really well on pretty much all of the hull. So yeah, 30%. That's 40% is what you usually. I think it's for the spray gun, so you're not actually much, you know, sort of much off that. So yeah, but 30% just gives you that time of allowance getting it on, without it setting too quick, if you like. I tend to find is if you start painting after you've loaded your roller straight onto the last known line, it'll bulk up. So I'm going to start it in the area next to it and then just even it out that way. Once you've evened it all out and got your thickness, then you can use it just to even all the surfaces out. Completely blend it in instead of using a brush to sheen it off, and I like this finish. So there we go. That's the surface. You can see there, I just tried to run out a little bit of a line on the paint surface. That's fine. Right, spit this on.
So there she was, after 3 months of intense preparation and about 2 days worth of painting, she was ready for her name again. Fortunately for me, I was being in contact with a signwriter from Woodbridge, Carle kindly offered to come down and rename Stowaway. He came down the yard to run through a few designs and then cracked open his box of paint and brushes, and we got stuck in.
Like, or you may, and then, you know, like you say, a couple of scripty sort of ones.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Really nice. I was thinking maybe like a sort of like, I don't know, what your thoughts, like a bird or something, to kind of get that kind of image of a horizon in the way
to carry on. Yeah, just a little something there sort of thing. Yeah.
So if you've ever seen a signwriter do a sign writing on anything, you'll be absolutely amazed at how steady and stable their hand is. This is the first time I'd ever seen it. I was really impressed.
Good bright peps.
That is quite bright, that one, isn't it? Oh, that's lovely, that. Yeah. Nice. done. It's fantastic. So Carle has now head off. That's the first coat done, and we're going to come back next weekend or another weekend to put the second coat on. Really happy with the job. I think it's absolutely amazing what he's done. Now I think obviously the transom, we had to be careful where the self-steering system is going to be mounted, so we put it on the port side of the transom, and then on the right hand side I think it's probably going to be like a little kind of sea ladder. I think it's probably best mounted on the back, sort of permanently fixed, for sort of like a safety option. I think the weather is set to change soon, and I'm just trying to rig up the canopy enough just for letting the water drain off.
So before starting any work on the deck, I was going to do the transom first because it was the only area that was kind of exposed. I couldn't cover up that easy. The other thing is the holes in the transom where the Hebridean bracket had been needed to be covered up. So it's a bit of an epoxy job there.
So I've just put some gaffer tape just under the side. There's quite a large hole there, so I think it's for the best. So I'm just going to thicken up this epoxy a little bit. So that's been in there for about half an hour now. Fill in some of the epoxy just to kind of get a sticky area, because if you apply it just with a filler, it can sometimes just not have as good an effect. Bit of filler. I need this a little bit runny because it needs to sit level in the deck to a degree. I'll start with the back first, I think. Been tackling some of the paint on the transom here. It's a bit of a tricky thing to do around here and around some of these corners, but generally coming off okay. One thing I did notice was this area here, just like big soft area. Well, it doesn't look like there's been enough resin or something laid up. Gonna go over it with a bit of light sanding and then mix up some epoxy, lay that down, get it covered. The transom has just been painted for the first coat of epoxy. It's gonna snow and ice up next week, so I didn't really want that exposed. It's the only area of the boat I can't really cover up that well because the boom finish is just like literally where the wood section is. So I'd uncovered it the other day and then checked the forecast and it was looking pretty bleak, so I thought I'd come down and cover it up. The other thing are these little locks. I've got one on each side, but I've just removed them and they're like, because they never really worked, and like, I can see why. It's just completely rusted through, so I'm gonna just for now replace it with a proper latch mechanism. So just install that. I've just got 2 screws in there at the minute. They're not flush, so I'm just gonna get some of these dome mounted ones I think for this, but I've nicked them off there. I didn't have any like nuts and bolts for this, so I've just nicked them off the locker lid. And yeah, for now I think I prefer that than having screws for there, because the screws come through the other side and then they're just like a real horrible, if you catch that it's not so bad, you won't just like, yeah, ouch, but if you've got a screw pointing through there, then yeah, it's going to be a bit of a stitch up job. And plenty of claret everywhere. So that is now getting bit more secure there. Just get a little lock for that. Just got to do the other side now. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. In terms of boat maintenance, we're going to be moving on to the deck next, moving off some more of that flaky paint away, getting the surface ready for the deck paint that's going on there. Obviously I'm waiting for the weather to actually move through before we start any of that. It's really cold at the minute. It's been sort of freezing and all this sort of thing, so it's great that the hull is finally done, and yeah, just in time for the weather. Thanks very much for watching. See you soon.